Well, 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 well. This is what 42 years looks like. 42 years of ministering from this pulpit and thanking the Lord every day for the opportunity of doing so. And I just, before I go into the message, how many of you have been in this church at least 42 years? Let me see. My goodness. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we can't count the ones on the internet, but there they are. People who came to this church when I came to this church and they were already here. Jeff was what, 1 year old? 18 months, something like that. And he ran to the piano that was there. That's the one, but it was down there. And he began to play the piano. And it was, it's one of those things. And Sister Millie was here. We were greeted in the back with a small little office, and Brother Ash was there. We used to be Brother Ash's office, very small, and Jeffrey was misbehaving. And so Sister Olivares, Dixie took him in his arms and put him inside the little office, and there he was entertained. I remember those days. It was kind of a lot of fun to see that happening. And when we first came to this church, 1979, they said that I would not last more than 6 months, maybe a year. And a rumor had gone through the church that I was going to change the church from English-speaking to Spanish-speaking. And there were some people who just refused to have a pastor whose first name was Enrique, which they couldn't pronounce to this day. But anyway, I guess things were a little bit different. And I had no intentions of walking away or changing my name. And Brother Ash, former pastor, and I got along very well. And we synchronized in doctrine and in our way of thinking. And we were not really foreigners. We were brothers in the Lord. And I had neither Wilma, the kids, or myself came to destroy the church, but to build a church. But they said, well, he's too young. We like to have a pastor in his 50s with teenagers. I used to say, what in the world? Where are they finding ideas like that? This is the most troubling time for a pastor to have kids that are teenagers. Well, any time you're a human being and you have in your home teenagers, you know that you're in another terrestrial sphere, another galaxy. But they had all these kinds of conditions that they wanted to put. And I've often wondered, why people sometimes feel that way. But anyway, we had no problems in our own hearts knowing that this was God's place for us. We came from a church that was, we left a church with over 120 people, and 6 months before this opportunity came, the Lord had already spoken to me that our time there was coming to an end. And one of the most difficult things to do is to leave a church as a pastor and go to another. But we had to do it. I remember it was Dr. Jones who called me on the phone and asked me to come and see him. And I went to his office and he said, there's a church that I'd like for you to consider. And he would not give me the name of the church, wouldn't tell me where it was. He says, if you believe that your time is up, then you let me know. And then he said to me, I don't know how long it takes for you to find out God's will in your life, but you have 3 days. I need to hear from you in 3 days. So I said, well, this guy means business. And so it was very difficult because we loved the church where we were, but yet we knew the time had come up. So I remember praying that night. It was the night before the third day would be up. In the morning, I had to make a phone call. And I remember that I was very concerned. Wilma already had made up her mind that this was the place to come, because usually women know much faster than us guys, but I will never admit that publicly. So I remember praying, and as strange as it seems, never happened to me before. It's never happened since. As I was praying, the room was filled with light. And I thought maybe it was just a passing car that had flashed its beams, and no, there was no car. As far as I was concerned, that was the Lord that showed me in my own heart that I needed to say yes. The following day I said yes, and then this supervisor was quite a guy. He said, okay, now I think you did the smart thing. You don't know this, but you've just been promoted. You're smart. He says, that's why I picked you. I said, I hope that's not why you picked me, because I'm not smart. And he said, just wait until I call you back. You know, it took another 6 months before he called me back. And I was preaching in the pulpit every Sunday knowing that I was going to leave. Do you know how difficult that is, to smile at people and hug people and love people, knowing that you're going to have to leave? Until finally it happened. And the day that I moved from Irwin Street to this place, 5 other pastors changed places. It was like a domino effect. That's why if he moved one, he had to move another one, had to move another one, had to move another one. And it all started because I saw the light, kind of like, you know. So we came to this church, and everybody thought I was not going to make it because I had no experience. But let me just tell you that I had experience when I came here. Like David, you know, he killed a bear and he killed, what else? A lion. And then he killed Goliath. So I came here to kill Goliath. I had learned my lessons, and I knew what it was to battle. I was battle-tempered. I knew what I had to do. And I was at a real conflict as to what to preach that first Sunday. Church was full, but what to preach. And so the Lord gave me a message in Joshua chapter 1, which we're going to preach today again. It's the same one I preached 42 years ago. And I keep lots of notes. That one I can't put beside. And this morning, before I came to church, before we left home, I was able to call Brother Albert Redondo, who is the last member, council member of Irwin Street Foursquare Church. And I called Brother Al. And Brother, I said, I just want to thank you for the years that you invested in me and in Wilma, that you helped me to become the pastor that I am today. And we had a wonderful talk. We remember the others who have already been to the Lord, has gone on to be with the Lord. He's the last one that's remaining. And just like Pastor said yesterday in the funeral, there was a time when all I did was to celebrate birthdays and weddings and dedication of children. This is a season in our lives that we do more funerals. But, you know, it doesn't matter which end. When the Lord is present, there's joy and there's peace and there's strength.